Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Before starting video, if you have not subscribed our channel, then please subscribe our channel, and to get each and every update, please click on the bell icon. And if you have not watched the previous video, then please watch it. Those will help you to understand this video. In this video, we will learn about Spring Batch. What is Spring Batch? A lightweight, comprehensive batch framework designed to enable the development of robust batch applications vital for the daily operations of enterprise systems. Spring Batch provides reusable functions that are essential in processing large volumes of records, including logging, tracing, transaction management, job processing statistics, job restart, skip, and resource management. It also provides more advanced technical services and features that will enable extremely high volume and high performance batch jobs through optimization and partitioning techniques. Simple as well as complex, high volume batch jobs can leverage the framework in a highly scalable manner to process significant volumes of information. Features: transaction management, chunk-based processing, declarative I/O, start/stop/restart, retry, skip, web-based administration interface, Spring Batch admin. How to execute Spring Batch manually. The job tier is responsible for the overall execution of a batch job. It sequentially executes batch steps, ensuring that all steps are in the correct state and all appropriate policies are enforced. The job tier is entirely concerned with maintaining the three job stereotypes: job, job instance, and job execution. The job launcher interacts with the job repository in order to create a job execution, and the job stores the job execution using the repository. Let's implement. Before starting anything, let's run and see whatever we added till now, it's working fine or not. Service started. See, it's working fine. Let's add Spring Batch core dependency. Let's copy and paste it in POM XML file. Let's create a separate XML file for batch configuration. To make it simple, XML file name must be Spring Batch XML. Import this newly created file in Spring Context XML. Let's search for Spring Batch namespace. To learn about Spring Batch, so read about for Spring document. Let's copy Spring cron content and paste it in Spring Batch. Let's modify this file. Let's add Spring Batch namespace, so copy from Spring document. Let's create a bean for the resource list transaction manager. Now let's create a bean from Map Job Repository Factory Bean. Add Transaction Manager as a reference for this bean. What is the Job Repository? Job Repository is responsible for the persistence of batch metadata entities. Simple Job Repository is the implementation of Job Repository that stores job instances, job executions, and step executions using the injected DAOs. A factory bean, Map Job Repository Factory Bean, that automates the creation of a simple job repository using non-persistent in-memory DAO implementations. This repository is only really intended for use in testing and rapid prototyping. In such settings, you might find that resourceless transaction manager is useful, as long as your business logic does not use a relational database. Not suited for use in multi-threaded jobs with splits, although it should be safe to use in a multi-threaded step. Now let's create a bean for Simple Job Launcher. What is Job Launcher? Simple interface for controlling jobs, including possible ad hoc executions, based on different runtime identifiers. It is extremely important to note that this interface makes absolutely no guarantees about whether or not calls to it are executed synchronously or asynchronously. A simple implementation of the Job Launcher interface. The Spring Core Task Executor interface is used to launch a job. This means that the type of executor set is very important. If a sync task executor is used, then the job will be processed within the same thread that called the launcher. Care should be taken to ensure any users of this class understand fully whether or not the implementation of task executor used will start tasks synchronously or asynchronously. The default setting uses the asynchronous task executor. There is only one required dependency of this launcher, a job repository. The job repository is used to obtain a valid job execution. The repository must be used because the provided job could be a restart of an existing job instance, and only the repository can reliably recreate it. Add Job Repository as a reference for this bean. Now let's create a bean from Map Job Registry. Now let's create a bean for Job Registry Bean Post Processor. What is Job Registry and Registry Bean Post Processor? A runtime service registry interfaces for registering job configurations by name. Map Job Registry is a simple, thread-safe, map-based implementation of Job Registry. A bean post processor that registers job beans with a job registry. Include a bean of this type along with your job configuration, and use the same job registry as a job locator when you need to locate a job to launch. Add Job Registry as a reference for this bean. Now let's create a bean for map. Add code for batch job tag. Create a separate package for Spring Batch. Create a class called Execute Tasklet. Create a bean for Execute Tasklet. Add params and Execute Tasklet. Implements interface Tasklet. What is Tasklet in Spring? It is a strategy for processing in a step. Declares the implementation of the Tasklet strategy indirectly by configuring a chunk or directly by configuring a reference to the Tasklet interface. Given the current context in the form of a step contribution, do whatever is necessary to process this unit inside a transaction. Implementations return repeat status.finished if finished. If not, they return repeat status.continuable, on failure throws an exception. Add a reference for params. Add some logic and execute Tasklet. Let's create the controller which will take care of the request sent from the front end. To make it simple, controller name Job Launcher Controller. Add basic code in Job Launcher Controller. That's it. Add one link to execute this batch job through Job Launcher Controller. Task name should be matched with job ID. Let's run and see it's working fine or not. Service started. Let's check from the browser. Let's change the cron expression for bean, annotation and quotes so can see only manually job detail. The request is coming tell controller but not execute tasklet. Before fix issue, let's change cron expression for others. Let's run again and see it's working fine or not. Service started. Not execute tasklet, that is only responsible for batch job. Tasklet not executing because running job message is not printing. It's not executing because get value casting is not proper. Let's run again. Service started. See, now it's working. Let's expose the user service from Tasklet. Let's run again and check result is coming or not coming from service. See it's coming, so same way can expose any service which contains a lot of calculation. Let's review whatever we added to execute batch job manually. Map job repository factory bean, a factory bean that automates the creation of a simple job repository using non-persistent and memory DAO implementations. This repository is only really intended for use in testing and rapid prototyping. In such settings, you might find that resourceless transaction manager is useful as long as your business logic does not use a relational database. Not suited for use in multi-threaded jobs with split, although it should be safe to use a multi-threaded step. Simple job controller. a simple implementation of Job Launcher interface. The Spring Core Task Executor interface is used to launch a job. This means that the type of executor set is very important. If a sync task executor is used, then the job will be processed within the same thread that called the launcher. Care should be taken to ensure any users of this class understand fully whether or not the implementation of task executor used will start tasks synchronously as asynchronously. The default setting uses the asynchronous task executor. There is only one required dependency of this launcher: a job repository. The job repository is used to obtain a valid job execution. The repository must be used because the provided job could be a restart of an existing job instance, and only the repository can reliably recreate it. Job Registry Bean Post Processor. A bean post processor that registers job bean with a job registry. Include a bean of this type along with your job configuration, and use the same job registry as a job locator when you need to locate a job to launch. Defines a job composed of a set of steps and transitions between steps. The job will be exposed in the enclosing bean factory as a component of type job that can be launched using a job launcher. Defines a stage in job processing backed by a step. The ID attribute must be specified. The step requires either a chunk definition, a tasklet reference, or a reference to a possibly abstract parent step. Declares the implementation of the tasklet strategy indirectly by configuring a chunk or directly by configuring a reference to a tasklet interface. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then please click the like button. We will come back shortly with new video. Till the time, happy learning.